Hello guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're trying cubes that you guys said were bad. Before we get into the video though, I do want to stop and take a second and give this week's member shout out. We have MoreTry this week. Thank you so much for your support to the channel. It goes a long way and I really appreciate it. With that being said, you can check out the membership tiers down below. Also, please hit that like and subscribe button. It really helps me out and it's free and it goes a really long way. Anyways, let's get into the video. Today we are trying cubes that you guys told me are bad. So without further ado, we have the ES Air 20 magnet ball core, we have the X3 Plus Super Maglev from MoreTry, and then we have the HuaMeng TG. Now I really hope this one isn't bad because this one costs a lot of money. And fun fact about this one, this is the cheapest cube with a 20 magnet ball core on the market. So let's get into them. I think we're gonna go from lowest price to most expensive price. So of course we're gonna start with the ES cube. This cube actually is a recent release and they just dropped a limited edition with transparent internals on thecubicle.com. So you open it up, straight away you get into the cube. There's not much, no nonsense packaging. I like that. I think that's the best way to go because packaging is a little bit ridiculous these days. You also have this, and then you have this little 3D printed thing. I have no clue what this, I guess this is the adjustment tool. Not sure. It looks like a pencil eraser, let's be honest here. But yeah, so no nonsense packaging. That gets a 10 for me. Because I like no nonsense packaging and it is good for the environment. You get here this manual. I remember the first cube by these guys that I unboxed, the manual only came in Chinese and I didn't like that. However, it looks like we do have a manual in English. This is some CFOP algorithms. So we have F2L stuff, PLL. Doesn't really, there's not a label for OLL, but it starts up there, and then on the back you have the adjustment system here, which is still in Chinese, which is not helpful. So they took the most important details that we need, which is the adjustment system, because if you probably get one of these, you probably know how to solve it, and they left that in Chinese. So this cube comes in a matte finish. There's no UV, no glossiness. It's pretty like, it's the most basic that you can get. And we already feel that. I do kind of like the logo though. I mean, at least that looks cool. But let's see what this turns like. So right out of the gate, it's pretty loose. Disclaimer, I did set this up and do some solves on it, and it is, I don't know, it's pretty bad. Feels very hollow, which we'll get into why in a second. I mean, you can feel the magnets, but it still feels incredibly unstable, so not sure what's going on there. You can kind of see it's a little snappier, but only right when you get to where the contact is made. So there's not really like auto alignment at all. Actually, there's not really like any, it's not amazing. Corner cutting's not terrible. I don't hate corner cutting on this. It's not bad. The issue with this cube is its instability. Let's take a look at the adjustment system. This looks, I'm not sure why the camera won't focus. Let me go a little further out. It's just bad. So you have a rivet in the middle there, so you don't even have a screw, which is fine. But it looks bad. The numbers they're okay. The arrow looks like it's sort of faded, and I assume this tool you use like this. Oh, that sounds really bad. What? I'm not even sure what I'm adjusting right now. This is just bad. This adjustment system is terrible. I don't even know. It's bad. I'm not even sure what I adjusted it to, and the manual is in Chinese. So unless you sit down and translate the manual with Google Translate, what is it saying? I don't know. We can try to guess what everything means, but like that's just really useless for the average consumer. Now let's crack open this. This is supposed to be the cube with the cheapest ball core on the market, cheapest 20 mag ball core on the market. So let's pop this open and see this 20 magnet ball core. Piece design looks pretty standard, nothing crazy. You got your magnets, not a lot of shape to everything. It's really basic, really standard, and it's not even a full ball core. Let me get a couple more pieces out of there. As you can see, it is just a plastic piece that goes around the regular core. It is not a full ball core at all. So that's probably how they managed to get this in here for such a good price. I don't know. The piece design too, the piece design looks like a lower end, you know, like speedcube. It's not super flashy or anything inside there, but it doesn't look like it should be bad. But it is. There's something about it where it's like, yeah, it's got the super basic designs. They look like they should. It's bad. For me, it's not necessarily the turning or the corner cutting. It's the incredible unstable feeling that the cube provides. And there's like no auto alignment, which like these days is pretty standard for most cubes. Like, so yeah, it might have the cheapest ball core on the market, or cheapest 20 magnet ball core on the market, but it's lacking in a lot of other important spaces. Like, I'd rather them not put a 20 magnet ball core in here and like make it stable. I don't know, maybe that would be a better choice. Make it stable, offer some different coating options. You know, people like me, I love UV, so like there's and you know what, I feel like the original ES release, which unfortunately I can't compare because it's packed away. Yes, I will be moving soon. It's not better than their last release. If anything, it's either the same, maybe a little bit worse. And it still bothers me that they didn't fix the manual being only in Chinese. So like, another cheap garbage release in my opinion, which is terrible, because you know, if they followed up with a release that was better or was making improvements on some areas where the first release was in trouble, at least it shows progress. For a new company, that's great, but they're not showing progress. They're showing that they can release bad products. I don't know, like, this is not worth buying, especially when the RS3 MP5 is cheaper and still better. Next, let's get into the MoreTry Tianma. This is the X3 Plus Super Maglev V4 something. There's a lot of numbers in this title, which, if I had to complain about this cube before I even get it out of the box, there are too many versions of this thing, man. And they just put out some more. There's too much to choose from, and I don't know at all if it's supposed to mean. There's a lot. There's way too much going on with this cube. The accessories box, interesting. We have glasses, wipes, some extra parts there, a spare cap, blank cap, which is cool, and then we have, where did it go? Some putty, which I am told is to clean out like areas where the magnet capsules are. You also have a cloth and then a booty load of manual stuff, I imagine. There's probably some English stuff, which is really nice. Yeah, so there's this one already has English, so that's better. You know, that $34.99 coming in clutch with the English manual. And you have this like big screwdriver. It's actually a pretty large screwdriver for a cube. So I'm gonna start shoving this stuff back in the box. I just wanted to pull it out and show you what you get. I think that the cleaning supplies you get is pretty interesting. It's different. It's not something that you normally see. And I have not tried them to clean anything yet, but if it works, like, the putty's pretty smart, because getting into that honeycomb pattern or the dragon scale, whatever you want to call it, and like the magnet capsules is pretty hard when you clean out a cube. So like, having that is not terrible. But anyways, let's do some turns. Okay, so I mean, it definitely feels better than the ES cube. It doesn't feel great though. And the magnet capsules. This cube does have an interesting feature though that I like, and in order to see that we do have to bust it open. But first we'll take a look at the adjustment system. Pretty basic adjustment system. You just twist this and then you have a screw tension system, which is standard. I like it. It's easy to follow, and as we saw the manual's in English, which is really helpful. Anyways, let's crack this open. There's something I want to show you guys that I think is interesting. Let's get a piece out of here carefully though. We don't want to break anything, and I personally don't want to take all of the lube and rub it off because, like, I don't know. All right, so no ball core here, no core magnets here, but what we do have is there are magnets inside the wings of these edge pieces right here. I don't know if you can kind of see the shadow where the magnet is. And then you have, look at all these magnets on the corner piece itself. So these stick together as they pass, which is pretty nice. So you have an interesting magnet scheme, but I don't hate the way that it feels, and I think it works pretty well. We're gonna put these pieces back in, and it's got your standard scale pattern there for what I assume is lube distribution and stuff. And then you have your magnet capsules. The magnet strength feels pretty good, and I think part of that is the magnets in the feet of the corners. And I don't hate it. It feels a little bit too fast for me, but it's a comfortable weight. I think it's got nice smooth turning, maybe a little bit catchy. I think that could be fixed with a little bit more setup if I really wanted to spend some more time with this. Corner cutting, not bad. Reverse is But yeah, I mean, this is for $32.90 or $34.99. This isn't a terrible speed cube. I think there are some things out there that perform better at a slightly cheaper price point. Not to bring up the RS3 MV5 again, but it's definitely a step up from the ES cube in terms of like getting what you paid for. And I do think it's interesting that they, the accessories that they put in this box are a little bit more. They're more involved. You get a little bit more in the accessory side of things, and some interesting methods to try cleaning your cube are in this box as well. So that's kind of neat. So it seems to me like they're not like super innovative, but like they did get some new things shoved into these cubes. I do like the extra accessories that you get. I think that's interesting to try out, and I would say it's what you pay for. I don't think it's anything special, and I probably wouldn't recommend it. But it's not as bad as the ES cube if we're using that as a baseline. So it's definitely beating that for sure. So to open this, the box is kind of confusing. Using the arrow here is a little tab. This is the HuaMeng TG. This comes in at $64.99. This is the Maglev ball core UV version. This is the only one of the three to come with a hard shell case, so that is cool. And then we have the accessories box. You open this up. All you get is a manual, an adjustment tool, and then another manual on how to use said adjustment tool. So, way more expensive cube, less stuff in the accessories box than the MoreTry. But we'll have to see what the cube is gonna do, because that's what we're here to review. Packaging is kind of cool. It's not super big. It fits everything snugly. Probably used more cardboard than they needed to though. All right, here is the cube. Pull this out. I've always liked their logo. I think that's a neat logo. Let's do some turns. Okay. Just spamming T-perms here. Okay, so I kind of actually, disclaimer time, I've spent a lot of time with this cube. I kind of really like it. I really like it a lot. I do have a couple complaints about this cube though, especially since, it costs $65. Like, there may be some things that I could complain about, and turns out there definitely is. So the cube itself performs quite well. It is on the heavier side of things, so for me it feels like a mix of like V10 and maybe RS3 V5, where like it's heavier but it feels kind of like a V10, if that makes sense. It feels similar to the Hualong series, but it's significantly heavier. But I also think that it handles poor turning a little bit better than some of the Hualongs that have come out recently. So it's kind of a I guess it's a mid between those two like types, you know, between the RS3 V5 and the Hualong series. It takes some aspects from both, but it's pretty good. It's just a tad heavy. I do kind of like the heaviness. I think maybe a little bit lighter would be cool. For performance, I think this cube is pretty solid. We pop this open to see the adjustment features. It is maglev. You can hand adjust some of this, but you do need a tool for like some of the adjustments, like the edge magnets and the corner magnets, and I think you need it for this. I haven't really adjusted this cube. I've kind of kept it on stock settings, which is 1 and 6, which I like. Adjustment system's fine. It could be a little bit more straightforward. Like the current MoU adjustment system is very straightforward and very easy to use, so this could be a tad bit more straightforward, but it's not terrible. Here is where I have to complain about this cube, right? The adjustment system for the magnets is atrocious. It's atrocious, and here's why. The corners, not so bad. You adjust one side of the corner, all of the sides of the corner get adjusted. However, the edges are a different story. When you adjust one side of the edge, you have to go and adjust the other side of the edge. So you're adjusting 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 24 different magnets when you want to adjust the edges. When you're trying to figure out the settings that you want, that makes that process extremely tedious and frankly very off-putting. When I was setting this cube up, I went through 3 or 4 different magnet variations, and I gotta be honest, at one point I was like, I'm not even gonna bother trying to get these magnets in a comfortable spot because it's just taking ages. If you forget where you started somehow, you're trying to figure out where you did. The edge magnet system, it's not numbered, so if you forget, you might have to restart. I know I have like a weird middle setting and I couldn't remember how many clicks in it was. I messed up. I had to restart, do it all over again to make sure that everything was the same strength. That was really frustrating for me. However, I really do like the cube. I think that it's, once you set it up, which does take a little while, it performs really well. It has a little bit of weight, so if you're somebody who likes heavier cubes and you find that the V11's not working for you, or the V10's still a little too light, but you like the feel of it, you can get this and you'll get a similar feel to the Hualong series, but you'll get some extra weight to it. There's just a couple frustrating things about setting this cube up, but after that, it performs quite well. Now mine in particular, I did have an issue with this edge piece being pretty catchy. I think that there was just an issue with the molding off of the press at the factory, and it must have not gotten caught by QC. I don't see it, there's a QC sticker on here or anything, but our friends at thecubicle, as awesome as they are, have taken care of that, and I have a spare edge piece on the way to replace that. So because you know, once you notice it, it's going to bother you. That was my case. Once I noticed it, it really started to bother me, and I decided that I really like this cube, so I went through the process of grabbing myself a replacement edge for this to make sure that it is the best that it can be, because I kind of really dig this puzzle. I think, yeah, if you're somebody who's looking for a heavier cube that performs really well, you have two options. You have the RS3 V5 on the cheaper end. It's not, I don't think it's quite as heavy as this. I don't want it to misspeak. But then you also have this one. This cube it's heftier. It's 85 grams. You know, that's heavy for a speed cube, especially when, let me see, what is the V11 like these days? I think the V11's coming in the 60s. The 8 magnet ball core V11 is coming in at 63 grams. So this is like 20 grams more than that, so it's considerably heavier. But for some people like me, that's kind of ideal, and it's kind of what we're looking for. So it's an option that we have. Not sure why you guys told me this cube is bad. The experience of setting it up is bad, but the cube itself performs really well. You just have to be patient when you set it up. Anyways, let's line these cubes up. The ranking is quite clear. You get what you pay for. Cheap, garbage. Mid-range, not bad. Expensive, it's good. Not sure again why you guys told me this is bad. I get why this one is bad. It really is bad. This one, I don't know if I would suggest it, but it's not a terrible cube. It's not better than some of its competitors in similar price points, but it's there. It's a thing. You won't hate it. In this cube, depending on how you approach your main 3x3, like when it comes to weight and stuff like that, you might really like this one. This cube is actually pretty good, and it's in my pile of 3x3s that I would consider maining at a competition. So yeah, again, not sure why y'all said it was bad.